You're driving home from work, normal Tuesday night. What if that was the last normal moment of your entire life? A guy named Colin Dixon found out the hard way. He got ambushed, kidnapped, his wife, his kid, taken. All of them held at gunpoint through the night. The next morning, they forced him to open up the building where he worked, and they walked out with $92 million. And here's the part that'll mess with your head. They left another $88 million behind because the money was too heavy to carry. And get this, most of the guys got caught, but $35 million has never been found. And the mastermind behind the whole thing? He's sitting in Morocco right now, a free man, because the US can't touch him there. This is the full story, and I promise you won't see the ending coming. Let's back up. February 21st, 2006, Tunbridge, England. Colin Dixon is 51 years old. He's a manager at a cash processing depot. Normal job, normal life. He's got a wife, Lynn, a young kid at home. Every night he drives the same route home from work. You ever do something so many times that you stop thinking about it? That's what got him. Now, here's what you need to understand about where Colin worked. The Securitas Cash Depot in Tunbridge wasn't just some bank. This place processed cash for the entire southeast of England. Every bank, every ATM, every major store. On any given night, that building held hundreds of millions in cash, and Colin Dixon had the keys. And here's where it gets crazy. The guys who planned this weren't just random criminals. They had been watching Colin Dixon for months. They knew his car. They knew his route home. They knew when he'd be alone on the road. Someone on the inside was feeding them information. But investigators wouldn't figure that out until it was way too late. So, who's running this thing? The guy calling the shots was a 25-year-old from southeast London named Lee Murray, professional MMA fighter, won fights on major cards, had a legitimate career. So why the hell was he planning a $180 million cash robbery? Because he could, and because he thought he'd never get caught. Murray spent months planning every detail, the route, the timing, the fake uniforms, the vehicles. And then, one Tuesday night in February, Colin Dixon turned off the highway and everything changed. What happened next took less than 30 seconds. 6:17 p.m. Colin's driving home, same road, same time, like always. A car pulls up behind him, flashing lights. Looks like cops. Colin pulls over. They weren't cops. Within 30 seconds, he was in their car, zip-tied, with a hood over his head. He had no idea where they were taking him. At the exact same time, a second crew went to Colin's house. His wife Lynn answered the door to what she thought were cops. She was wrong. Her and their young daughter were zip-tied, hooded, taken. 2 crews, 2 locations, happening at exactly the same moment. This wasn't random. This was coordinated. They brought the whole family together to a farmhouse, Colin, Lynn, all in the same room, armed guards through the entire night. Can you imagine? Sitting there with your family, not knowing if you're going to make it to morning. And then one of the guys leans over to Colin and says, "You're going to open that depot for us, or your family doesn't go home." At around 1 a.m., they put Colin in a van dressed as a Securitas guard. He drove to the depot, walked up to the door, said everything the way he was told. The guard inside recognized him, buzzed him right in, and then the gang was inside. Just like that. No alarm, no security breach. Colin Dixon just let them in, because what else was he gonna do? Once they were inside, the gang moved fast. They zip-tied every staff member in the building, 14 employees, all of them, on the floor, and then they started loading the vans. Cash, everywhere, pallets of it, stacked to the ceiling, and here's where it gets insane. They stole $92 million, largest cash robbery in British history, and they left another $88 million behind. Not because the cops showed up, not because something went wrong. The money was too heavy to carry. They loaded so much cash that the vans couldn't hold any more. $88 million just sitting there on the floor. Nobody took it. By the time the cops figured out what happened, the vans were gone. The gang had split the cash into smaller loads and scattered across southeast England. $92 million in cash is a physical problem, not just a legal one. You can't just walk into a bank with a garbage bag full of 20s. So, what do you do with $92 million in cash when you can't spend it? And here's where smart criminals become dumb criminals. Within weeks of the robbery, gang members were splashing cash everywhere. New cars, designer gear, clubs, bottles, trips abroad. You just pulled off the biggest cash robbery in British history, and you're buying a Lamborghini. Cops love that. But the smarter members of the gang, they buried it. Literally dug holes in fields and gardens across Kent and London and buried the cash. Some of it was buried so well that even after investigators found the gang, they couldn't find the money. $35 million is still out there, right now, in the ground, somewhere in England. While his crew was blowing money on clubs and burying cash in fields, where was Lee Murray, the mastermind? The guy who planned all of this. He had already gotten on a plane. He was gone, and the place he went to is the reason he's never served a day in an American prison. The gang used a farmhouse to hold the Dixon family. They were there for hours. They ate, they drank, they left fingerprints everywhere. Everywhere. You spend months planning a $180 million robbery and you forget to wear gloves at the farmhouse? Cops ran the prints, got names back within 48 hours. And then came the bombshell. Remember the inside job I mentioned? His name was Emir Hassanaj. He worked inside the depot, a regular employee, trusted. Nobody suspected him. He smuggled a tiny camera into work, strapped to his body, filmed the layout, the cash storage, the security systems, the shift patterns, handed the gang everything they needed. The whole robbery was possible because someone who worked alongside those employees every single day sold them out. Cops started picking the gang up one by one. Stuart Royal arrested, Michelle Hogg arrested, Paul Allen arrested, Jetmir Buckpapa arrested, Emir Hassanaj arrested, one by one. All of them, every single one except the guy who planned the whole thing. While his crew was getting sentenced to 15, 20, 25 years, Lee Murray was beyond British reach in Morocco, a country that refused to hand him over because Morocco doesn't extradite its own citizens, and that single fact changed everything. Lee Murray holds Moroccan citizenship through his father, which means British police could find him. They could even watch him, but they could never, ever bring him back to a British prison. Morocco did arrest him, though. He was convicted in a Moroccan court and sentenced to 25 years. His crew back in England got 15 to 25 years in maximum security. The difference? They could be brought home. He never could. Lee Murray is still in that Moroccan prison today. He tried to escape once. It failed. They added years to his sentence. The mastermind of Britain's biggest robbery, locked in the one country that could hold him, but never hand him back. Does he know where the $35 million is buried? Yeah, me too. So here's where we land. $35 million is still missing right now, today. The mastermind is locked away in Morocco, beyond Britain's reach. The inside man, Emir Hassanaj, got 20 years. And Colin Dixon, the guy who was just trying to drive home from work that night, he's never spoken publicly about what happened. Some nights you just don't get to go home the same person you left as. This was episode 1 of 7 heists, each one stranger than the last. Subscribe so you don't miss it.